So today we're going to work on buying a used car, and to do that we're going to set up a loan table in a spreadsheet to calculate all of the payments that we'll have to make for the loan on the car, and also look at just how much it costs over time to pay for the interest on that loan. So to get started, let's go to a new window in Chrome, and we're going to get started at autotrader.com to find a car. Once in AutoTrader, I want you to do this advanced search. So go over to the top right and click on the advanced search button. And in here, what we want to do is search for our zip code here. So 61573 for Lexington. And let's go 100 miles because that'll pull in Chicago and give us plenty of options. So we want a used car. I want you to keep the price between $10,000 and $20,000. You're going to give it an option to pick what car you want, but I'm going to give you some criteria on that. If you want to choose anything within the style or drive type, that's up to you, but let's go to year, and let's pick something that is, within the last 20 years. So 2000 and, actually, let's go the last 10. So let's go 2012. You ought to be able to find plenty of cars in that price range, and because of the loan rates, it'll be a lot better for us to do that. And you can search for specific make, model, trim that you want, or mileage, however, but I'm just going to go down here and hit search. So I want you to take a few moments now to go through and find the car that you want, and continue after that making the spreadsheet. So once you've selected the car that you want to base your loan on, the next step is to set up a spreadsheet. So let's grab a new tab, and in that tab go over to our waffle and click on Sheets. And in there, let's make a new blank sheet. And here we'll start including information about the vehicle. So we'll start with year, make, and model. We also want to include mileage and the trim package. Trim package would be any sort of letters or other styles that make that car unique. Those are the kind of the things that you'll look at when you're getting a loan and also applying for insurance for the car. Let's skip a blank line and let's put in the loan information. So 3 things that we need to know to calculate our payment are the principal, the loan rate, and how long, which is called the term. So when we're calculating interest on a loan, those are the 3 things we need to know. So we'll skip another blank line and put in monthly payment, which we will calculate. I'm going to make that column just a little bit wider. Click on the letter A, and I'm just going to highlight these. And let's make these bold. And this is where I can put in that information for my specific car. So your car will probably be different. That's okay. So my trim package is just Sport. And I have to come on here and look at the mileage. 73,000 miles. Don't worry about formatting these things right now. Let's fix that. But you can, if you want, highlight this text and come over to your alignment tool and choose left. Skip a column and grab the image of the car. So copy that image, and let's hit Control V and paste that in there. Let's make sure that that fits sort of within the spreadsheet that we have, and there's the car that you're working on. All right. So now my principal is my loan amount, and we can just assume that we're getting the entire loan. So mine's $16,500. Don't worry about putting in the commas or the dollar sign. Rate and term we'll need to go figure out. So to find out the rate and the term, let's go to a new tab and go to CEFQ, cefq.com. So in here, you're going to see there's a little link here that says rates. And on the right-hand side, you'll see loan rates. And vehicles are the first thing that comes up. And you can see based on your year. So if I go back to mine, I have a 2015. So I'm going to look that up right here. It says that my rate is 2.64% and my standard term is 60 months, which is 5 years. So let's put that in there. You're going to notice that as the cars get older, they're not going to want to keep the loan as long, and the rate will be higher. Because why? Well, because this is a secured loan. You'll be using the car as the collateral, and banks don't really want to try and have to resell a car that's, 10 years or older. It's just harder for them to get their money back. And so they're going to charge you a higher rate because it's a greater risk for them. All right, so 2.64 at 60. So 2.64% at 60. So those are the three things I need to know to calculate my payment. To do the payment, we're going to use the payment function. Anytime we want to make a calculation in a spreadsheet, we start with the equal sign. So we say equals, and then the payment function is PMT. Okay, so there's three parts to the payment function. There is the rate, the principal, and the term, and we'll be referring to each of these right here. So the first item that we put into our payment function is the rate. So you can come up and just click on your rate. You'll see that it puts the cell reference B8 in there. Now, that rate is an APR. APR stands for annual percentage rate. And we're making a monthly payment. So to make an adjustment for that, we'll divide by 12. Divide is the same as the question mark on your keyboard, and then 12. Then place a comma. The next thing to put in is the term, and that for us, we can either click on B9 or type it in. And then lastly, press comma, and we're going to put in the principal with it, which is right here in B7. Now, the payment function returns a negative number, and we want it to be positive. So let's, after we click on that, well, let's see if we can click right in front of that and put a minus sign right in front of that. All right, once you have that in there, press enter. And I'll put a right parenthesis in there and then press enter. There we go. So that gives me my monthly payment for my car. Now, we're going to try and calculate how much does it cost us per payment. And that way we can look at some of the different ways to manipulate the loan to maybe be a little bit cheaper for us. So at least we know how fast we're paying the car off. And that is called an amortization table. So the next step for us is to set up this table. So I'm going to skip a blank line and go down to row 13 and put in some column headings. So we'll put in payment number. I'll just press tab to go across here. How much we're paying, which is our monthly payment. How much interest we're paying. How much principal we're paying. What's left after our payment. And our total interest. So start with those column headings. Make sure you have those in there. I'm going to make them bold. And in the first row, we're going to mostly just type in. So we're going to actually start at payment number 0 to make all these calculations work out. That's going to be the first payment that well, this is before we make our first payment. So this is setting up the table when we have our, getting our loan just made and we haven't made a payment yet. So we can get to the payment by going up to here, up to our monthly payment right there. So to grab this cell, I just press equals and click on that cell. That's how much we're going to be paying. Interest and principal will be 0 right off the bat. Our balance will be where we're starting. So we're starting with this principal amount. So press equals and click on principal. That's B7. Press enter. And our total interest will start at 0. So right now, this is where we're starting out. So the next line will be based on everything that we've done so far. So we're going to type in these calculations. Now, once we type in this row, we're going to be able to copy them down. So don't worry, we just have to do one more row. So to add 1 to the payment number, I simply take the cell above, so I'm going to press equals and click on the cell above, which is A14, and I'm just going to add 1 to it, so plus 1. All right, so we're on payment number 1. We want the same payment each time, so I'm going to press equals, and I'm going to click on my monthly payment here, and I'm going to press enter. Now, I want to calculate how much interest I paid out of that payment. To do that, I'm going to take here, I'm going to take the payment that I've made and find out what the interest is on that. So I'm going to click on my balance, and then I'm going to multiply, so Shift 8, and then a parenthesis. I'm going to multiply this balance by my interest rate. My interest rate is right here, so I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to divide that by 12 again to get a monthly rate. Okay, so I'm going to put that back up there so you can see what I did. I went to my balance, which was E14, and I multiplied that times my rate divided by 12. Okay, now, because when I copy this down, it's going to make adjustments to my cells. And because this rate is never going to move, I need to fix that so this 8 doesn't change. So come back up to your formula and put a $ in front of the 8. That won't change anything right now. That'll just make it work when we copy it down. Okay, so my principal is going to be how much of my payment was minus the interest. So I press equals and go over to my payment and subtract out that interest calculation. So I'm just going to take my payment and subtract out how much of that payment was interest, and that's how much of my payment is going to principal. My balance is going to be the balance above, so if I press equals, go to my balance above, and I'm going to subtract my payment right there. And finally, my total interest is going to take the interest that I calculated plus the interest in the cell above. So press equals, go to my total interest, which right now is 0, and add to it my interest that I calculated. Which makes sense, so right now my total interest is here. So if you'd like, you can format all of these as currency. You can highlight them and come up to the $ here. And we basically have the first month done. Alright, so the next step is to make these formulas work all the way down. How far do we want to go? Well, I only need to go out to 60 payments. I'm at 15, so somewhere like 75, but you can take it farther. So I'm going to just take this down to 80. Alright, so you can see I went all the way past 60. Now I'm going to grab my payment, do the same thing. I'm just going to grab that little blue square there and drag it down. Because my monthly payment doesn't change, we'll just leave it at that. Now in reality, we get down to the last couple of months, it really should change to pay off the loan because it's not going to end up exact, but we'll leave that alone. So let's take the interest down as well. Now that seems a little bit weird, but be patient because the interest is based on these calculations over here. So as we work our way across, those numbers will fill in. You see the numbers change there once I change the balance, and now this total interest column will work. So obviously you get down here and you see right there my balance.